I prank called my grandma as a murderer and almost caused 2 car accidents. I know there's a lot to unpack here. My grandma is the most gullible person in the world. She could watch you walk into a closet, jump out right in front of her, and she would still scream. Like that's just how easy it is to mess with my grandma. I'm in middle school. I want to say 6th or 7th grade. Me and my buddies discover the *67 for prank calls. I think most kids had this growing up. You dial *67 and then the number, and it comes up as an unknown caller. It was like the best thing in the world. So I stayed the night at my buddy's, and we were making just phone call after phone call for hours. So the next morning, my mom has my 2 younger siblings with her, comes to pick us up, and I'm telling her about these prank calls. We're leaving Triple Crown, the neighborhood Triple Crown in Richwood. When you're leaving the south side of this neighborhood, it is literally just the longest exit out of a neighborhood ever. I'm telling my mom about the *67. Like, you got to see this in action. Can I use your phone? She's like, yeah. Can I call Nana? She's like, yeah, sure. I'm not making fun of anyone with special needs. I just did the Jimmy character from South Park voice to the best of my ability because we were watching South Park all night. So I go, my grandma answers, hello. And I'm like, you did the Jimmy? I had no idea that we had a family member out on the West Coast named Jimmy, okay, on my grandpa's side. He had all kinds of issues and legal trouble. I never knew about any of this. I just said the name Jimmy from South Park. It obviously clicks for my mom. There's an opportunity for this prank call. So my mom starts coaching me through what to say because my grandma goes, oh, Jimmy, how are you? So I go, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Things are good. My grandma's like all cheerful. Oh, how are your parents? And I'm like, dead. And my grandma, you hear her get real concerned to the phone. Oh, what happened to them? And I go, I killed them. And we lose it. Me, my siblings, and my mom are in the car, just hysterically laughing because my grandma goes dead silent. You hear it's like 30 seconds of just radio silence on the phone. You hear her, she's also in the car. So we hear her driving somewhere. And my grandma, when she gets serious on the phone, her whole voice changes, right? So it's like a 30-second pause. We are all in tears laughing so hard that she even believes me. Finally, she's like, Jimmy, where are the bodies? What did you do with your parents? Now, again, we're literally like this, like covering our mouths, crying, trying to keep it together. So she's like, what did you do with the bodies, Jimmy? I need to know. Where are the bodies? And I'm like, oh, they're in a lake. And I did not know that they're from Oregon. So my grandma's asking me all these questions. She's like, oh, out in Oregon? Out in Oregon? In Portland? Like, what lake is it, Jimmy? What lake is it? I said, oh, no, I put my lake, not my bus. I'm traveling. And then cover the phone speaker while we're hysterically laughing at my grandma's reaction. My grandma's like, Jimmy, I need to know what lake you put your parents' bodies in, and I need to know where you're going. What's hysterical about that is my grandma is the most religious person when it comes to like, I'll pray for you, blessings for you, I'll do all this stuff. And she really does. My grandma's like a little prayer warrior is the best way to describe it, right? But when it comes to actually letting that crazy shit into her life, as far as like if some crazy person came up to my grandma and was like, I need your help, she'd probably mace him or something because she just doesn't do well with crazy shit like that when it comes to these type of situations. I say to her, I'm on a bus. And she's like, where are you traveling to? Where are you traveling to? I need to know. And I'm like, I'm coming to Kentucky. I'm coming to you. Immediately, she's like, no, Jimmy, no. You cannot come here. It's freaking out on the phone. Now I need to know what kind of bus you're on. I need to know where you're going. And she's probably like writing all this down. She's going to call the cops afterwards, right? It's 10 times funnier for my mom who's driving because I don't know all the background on this family member. My mom was just talking me through this prank call. So we can't get a hold of ourselves because obviously we're laughing at the prank call itself, but we're also laughing at how hard our mom is laughing. We can't get it together to the point where we just let it ride. Like we just got the phone covered and we were all just hysterically laughing. My mom's laughing so hard she's coming down this 2-lane road. She drifts in the middle of the road. We're like, Mom. So there's a car coming on, and my mom swerves back over, pulls over on the side of the road, just so she can continue laughing. My grandma is like totally buying into this entire prank call that we're doing. almost 2 minutes where we're just hysterically laughing. And I have the phone covered, so my grandma just keeps talking. Jimmy, I need to know where the bodies are. I need to know where you're going. How did you kill your parents? Like all this stuff she just keeps saying. You can tell she is like distressed about this situation because my grandma literally thinks that some crazy murderer family member is on her way is on their way to Kentucky to stay with them. You hear my grandma, like it just sounds something's you hear like all this rumbling on my grandma's end of the line. So we're like, what the hell is going on? So finally I just pull the phone off. I'm like, Nana, it's Thomas. It's Thomas. And she's like, you're with Jimmy? I'm like, no, Nana. This is a prank call. And this is so funny. My grandma's always been this way. When you mess with her, she's so gullible to the point where you could mess with her for 20 minutes and you could string this story along for 20 minutes. And I'm not the only family member that does this. Her two sons, my uncles, they've always done this. Like, everybody in the family messes with my grandma so much that my grandpa says now that when she answers the phone before we even say hello, just for my grandma to be like, bullshit, whatever it is, just say bullshit. So it was so funny because when we finally tell her, she's pissed. What the hell is wrong with you guys? This is a sick joke. She's like, I almost got in a car accident pulling over on the side of the expressway because of this. My grandma was on 75 driving and she was so shook up from the call that she literally whipped it over into the emergency lane, stopped driving, put the flashers on so she could focus on this prank call. Oh, and she was more mad at my mom than anyone, right? Because my mom's the one that gave me all the background on it. So she just like, hand the phone to your mother. Well, we have it on speaker, so we just hear her. Corey, Lynn, what the hell is wrong with you? I could have been in a car accident. And we just can't even get it together because you just keep laughing at the whole situation. So, oh my gosh, it was just so funny. And those are like some of my favorite. I think everybody has those certain like every relationship in your family is different, but there's always one family member that everybody just knows. It's so easy to mess with. They're so easy to get going, and once you get them going, it is pure comedy. And to this day, that's my grandma. She is just so easy to mess with, and it's so much fun when she gets pissed off because she is the sweetest woman in the world. But there's certain things that we can do that trigger her immediately, and it is comedy to watch her in action. So Nana, if you ever see this, love you. Pure entertainment. Sorry for all the pranks, but I gotta say I don't regret any of them. They're some of my favorite memories from childhood. So, I honestly I'll swear by this just because of how my life has gone. If you have a set of grandparents in your life and they're willing to hang out with you and spend time with you at any age, just take the time to do it. I know, especially in college, high school age, even middle school nowadays, like you just get so caught up in your life and what you're doing that you forget about people like that. But like when your grandparents aren't around, you'll probably miss them every day. And I'm lucky enough to still have my grandparents in my life, and I'm absolutely gonna make the most of every minute that I get to spend with them because it's amazing and they're so much fun. So I really do hope for everyone out there, if you have your grandparents still in your life and you have a decent relationship with them, just keep cultivating it because it'll end up being some of the best memories and perspectives and stories that you ever get to have or hear because they've lived so much more life than you. So, and in a completely different era. I mean, I think most of our grandparents grew up in like the 60s and 70s. Like, you listen to some of their stories, and it's like, man, I wish I grew up then because I would have, that would have had way more fun then than am now in today's society. So I really do think it's important to have those type of relationships with your family. And I know every family dynamic's different. So, again, if it's something that works for you, but for us, my grandparents live 20 minutes away, and I spend a lot of time with them out there, and I have absolute blast with them all the time. So I guess that's my advice in this prank call story. And yeah, that's today's episode. Talks with Tom. Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get easier? I'll be up and away of the shake and bake, but I can't even breathe no more. What's it to me? What can I see? Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. and we almost caused